G'day guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another episode of Space Survival. So it's been a while since I jumped behind the microphone here, but yeah, as you can imagine, Christmas and New Year's and all that sort of festivities does tend to get quite busy, and I've had my kids like quite a lot this Christmas break, so yeah, I just haven't really had a chance to get behind the computer, but I'm here now, so we have a lot of work to do. So one of the things I was kind of thinking about while I was not playing the game was, what am I going to do with this ship here in particular? Because obviously it only has the connector at the back, and with all the other ships being on the floor, I was thinking of maybe putting it up here on the wall. But I don't really want to do that because it's not really going to match the design of the rest of these things, where it's kind of, yeah, just sitting in the middle of the wall and these are sitting on the floor. So I kind of want to put it on the floor with the rest of them. So I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with that design there. I was also thinking about maybe getting rid of this bay and then moving it all the way across. So that's another option, or like getting rid of this bay, moving this one over to here, this one over to there, and so on and so forth. But the only problem with that is that if I have, let's just jump in this ship and move this across. So I'll turn this thing back on, so we'll try not to crash into anything here. No guarantees. Wait, what did I just do then? It's been so long since I played, I've honestly forgotten the controls a little bit here. Alright, let's park it up maybe down here a bit. Oh, yeah, that's not really where it's going to live. I think it's going to live about there. Alright, so let's just leave it there. And then if we jump into this one and move that over to here, it's gonna be, it's very, yeah, so it's actually not too bad. I was kind of concerned that by having it here, it's gonna be a little bit hard to get it out, because we have this super long ship in the way. But it's not too bad. You can kind of go out like that and then across. So it's really not that bad, to be honest. So I may end up actually doing that. And then just having it like maybe like close to the floor, but 2 blocks. Also, one thing, I don't know why I did this, but I made it, yeah, so it'll probably be around about there somewhere. Or maybe 2 blocks up would probably be about that high. So it actually looks pretty good, to be honest. I might in fact go ahead and do that, which means I have to reconfigure all of these bays quite a lot, which is annoying, but it's one of those things. Interior design is a very fluid thing. You're always changing stuff, so. But if I am going to do that, I think I'm going to do that off camera. What was the other thing that I was thinking about doing? Yeah, so the other thing is as well the roof. So the roof is rather boring. Now, normally with my hangar designs, I would go ahead and place like these big pillars that go across that way, but I think this time I would like to do something like what I've done in this room here and have the roof in that sort of style of construction. So that one's going to be kind of difficult as well, because obviously when I drill these parts out, which is fine in a room like this, but when I do that in this hangar here, I'm going to need to drill all the way across, and in fact I'm going to need to grind back this entire roof. But when I get to this section here, try and miss that gun. When I get to this section here, obviously there's going to be a big hole here. So I think I have a not so elegant, but I think it would look okay solution for that. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of send it and then we'll go from there. So, alright, off camera, I'm gonna reconfigure this whole setup. Or actually, before I do so, there is one thing I need to check. So let's just cheat a little bit here and go into the spectator camera. I want to see what is actually behind this. Alright, so we have plenty of space behind that, and we have plenty of space behind that. Okay, cool. So I got plenty of space behind that to run my conveyor junctions. Wait, no, sorry, my connectors. So that's fine. So I should be able to place those down, and we should be all good to go. Alright, cool. So I'm going to reconfigure this stuff off camera. Not going to time-lapse this because, you know, it's pretty... You've seen me do it before, so what's the point in seeing me do it again? Alright, I'll be back in a moment. Alright guys, well, as you can see, I've gone ahead and I've moved this bay across and then switched all these ones. So yeah, we're going to have, I think it's 2 fighters here, and then my mining ship, and I might create another one of those. Just so I can kind of fill the hangar a little bit, even though it's totally not necessary. But yeah, so now we actually have the space to put our welding ship. So I am going to build another one of these, and I'm probably going to turn one into a grinding ship and another into a welding ship. Oh, looks like we have a Reaver, but he's moving away from us. Just switch view here. And at the moment, this thing is actually quite full of steel plates, because when I was moving all of these bays across, I decided to kind of fill this thing up while I'm at it. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to put the connector up on the second block. So we'll probably park this thing maybe about here, I guess. So let's move forward a little bit. Let's see where the connector is, and let's grind this out and see. So I'm probably gonna put it there, or do I put it next to it? Alright, let's jump back in and see how everything looks. So I think if I put the connector there, it's gonna be easier to get around the mining ship. If I put it here, it's probably not gonna be so easy. And I mean, it's not so bad when you're going straight ahead. It's more so like when you're coming to reverse into that spot, that's when it's going to be a little bit difficult. So yeah, I think I might just... Yeah, I think I'll make the connector live there. Okay, so with that in mind, let's move this thing out. And then let's grind out... Oh, hang on. Let me put it back actually. So obviously I'm going to have the connector in the wall. So let's move this back to where I want to put it. Oh, maybe a little bit too high. Move it forward a bit. Is that straight? Not really. Now it is. A little bit. Alright, so I want the landing bay to kind of extend to the front of the ship, which is about here. So we're going to remove all of these blocks here. And then I think as well, I'll change all of these blocks here to be kind of like this style of block. So we do have like a 3 block gap in between these bays, and then these bays here are like 2 blocks apart. But I think I'm kind of happy with that, because where do the voxels actually start? I think it was about there, wasn't it? I could move these 3 bays apart, but I kind of need the space here for this ship. So if it was 2 blocks, it might be a little bit too close. I don't know, maybe that's something we can change later. We'll see how we go. But the other thing I want to do is I want to build some sort of a ramp system so that I can get into the ships. So you can just kind of walk, yeah, kind of walk up a set of stairs and then access the ship, and then also have like a set of railings so that you can kind of make repairs and things like that, even though I'm probably not going to use that for repairs. Oh wait, no, we don't really need that because we're going to have the build and repair system underneath the floor. Okay, so I'm going to grind out these blocks here as well, and then they're going to be a similar style to this. So those blocks there will be the same up here, and then we'll have our connector, and then the rest of these blocks will kind of be like those blocks there. And maybe, yeah, yep, no, that's gonna work pretty well. Okay, so let's move this ship out and then get that all built. So that's everything done. I think it looks okay-ish. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. So what I need to do to get the connector hooked up is just temporarily though. Oh, actually, I don't even really need to be temporary with it. So I'm of two minds as to whether or not I want to make all this stuff airtight, because at some stage I may want to make the hangar airtight, but I just really don't know how I'm actually going to make that happen, because of the fact that, like, yeah, it's just I can't have a door that's that big, and unless I use some sort of a mod that uses a shield. And I would really like some recommendations on that style of thing. If I could have some sort of a shield front end on this that would make everything airtight and not so much doors, then I think I would go for that. So if you guys know of any mods that can achieve that, then please let me know down in the comments below. But I think in the meantime, let's just assume that this isn't going to be airtight. So we'll grab some resources from that. And I'll grab a couple of conveyor tubes. I'll grab a conveyor junction, a few tubes, and then we'll need to grab a connector, which, yeah, we don't really have the space for. Make it this color. Alright, so what I want is a T-junction. Nah, I'll put a conveyor junction here, just in case I do want to make this thing airtight. And then what I'll have to do is, if I do want to make it airtight, I have to drill all of this out. Alright, so that's all drilled out. So like I was saying, if I am going to make this airtight, I'm probably going to need to change this block here to one of these armored conveyors, or is it a reinforced conveyor? That's the one. So that's a T-junction. So it would need to go that way. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it. So we'll put it down. So that's our T-junction. Let's just make sure the points are right, and they are. And then that's going to need to be... no, that just needs to be one of these blocks. We'll make it that color. And then it's going to have to kind of go back from that way, if that makes sense. So what we're going to have to do is replace this with a reinforced conveyor as well, but I want to make it this color. It doesn't really matter because you're never going to see this stuff, but that's right. Makes me feel better knowing that it's done the way I need it to be done. Alright, so let's go probably this way. There we go. Now we just need to put in blocks all the way around. Okay, so that's all those blocks done. Now we're going to need to put in a pipe here. maybe. Yeah, so we're gonna have to put a pipe there, and then here we're gonna have to put a conveyor junction. And this is all balked. Let's weld that up. This one and this one. And then off of that we're going to have our conveyor there, or our connector. But in order to seal this up, I'm going to have to change one of those pipes out. Let's grab a whole bunch of steel blocks, make them this color just because why not. Now we're going to have to put a block. Come on. Work with me here, game, please. Put these blocks around like this. And then we have to get... Well, let's weld up a few of these first. I might grind that out. Get rid of that voxel. Alright, let's put the block back. Right, let's get rid of this, and then finally we will replace that with a reinforced conveyor tube, which will look like this. So what have we got? Yep, there we go. That orientation there. And then finally we can put our connector in above that, which shall be like this. Oh, wait, no, I've messed this up. I don't even need to do all of this. I can just run it off here. I totally didn't configure that right. Okay, so I'm going to grind all this back, and then this is going to look a little bit different. So let's get rid of that,
inventory
and that.
full.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Let's grab some steel, or just some regular cube blocks, I guess. Well, the only problem is that this isn't actually connected to the rest of the grid, so this won't actually count as being airtight. So I need to... This back wall here is not actually connected to anything. Let me just grab the spectator camera here and I'll show you guys what I mean. I had this problem before once. So you see how we just have like the corners interacting with each other. So if that grid there and this wall here are part of one grid, then these corners will be airtight. But if this grid is separate to that grid and it's not tied to this grid in any other way, then that won't be airtight. So that's a little bit of a tidbit piece of information for you guys that may be helpful later on. But to tie them together, I'm just going to put a block there, then we'll put another block there.
Energy low.
And now what we can do is we can just put in our reinforced conveyors. I'll probably go for reinforced conveyors because they do look a little bit nicer. So we'll go for one there. And then, as a matter of fact, I don't even really need that back wall. All I really need to do is put in a wall around there. But that's alright. I might change that later. It's not really necessary for this point in time. Right, let's do that. Now, hit the wrong button there, so we'll go for this piece, this corner piece. Yeah, it looks good enough. I suppose we could go for a conveyor junction. And then when we go to put in our conveyor, so we can see into the back there, which is okay-ish. Doesn't really look that great though. So, you know what? I think I am going to get rid of this wall and just put blocks right up against
Inventory
the wall
full.
for the hangar. So we'll go for blocks like this. Wrong color though. And then we'll just go up like that. Whoa, what's going on here?
Energy critical.
What's firing? What's it firing at? Alright, well, let's just pray that it's nothing and it's just my guns being a bit overreactive. Let's get these welded up. And I can grind these away as well. I know I'm about to run out of energy, but that's okay. There we go. And then put a block there and there. Weld those up. Hey, it looks like we've got enough energy to do that. And now we can just put in our conveyor junction here. So, I mean, what I could do as well, let me just grab some energy right quick. What I could do as well is the previous format that I had it in, where I had that one block worth of spacing, I could put some lights down, but you know, like maybe I could put some orange lights behind this actual wall and then have like an orange glow where the ships are. Give it a bit more of an industrial look, but I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. So let's make that this color, which it is. Do I make it yellow? No, we'll just make it black. Cool. And now we can dock our ship up. And it should be, emphasis on the should, be connected to the rest of the grid. Okay, so let's reverse this thing in. Ah, it's all backwards. So this is going to be challenging to park up all the time. But I didn't want the side of the hangar looking really shocking, if that makes sense. Well, that was a little bit rough. Let's wait for it to settle down and straighten up a little bit. I need to actually perform some repairs on this thing too. Alright, and then we've locked it down and now it should be charging. So apparently we have 27 days worth of power. That's interesting. I thought we would have more than that. And there we go. So that's that ship sorted. And it kind of lines up with this one as well, so it doesn't look too bad. Okay, so now all I need to do is the same thing for the other side, but I'll probably do that off camera because you guys have seen me do that. I won't time lapse that stuff. And then, yeah, so we'll do the other side. And then we can go ahead and sort out the piston arrangement for this ship, because the connector, obviously, you know, this thing's almost touching the ground. The connector is going to have to protrude up from the floor by like, I'd say half a block, or maybe even a little bit more. So I'm going to have to go right down. And, you know, since I went ahead and made all the effort to make that airtight, I am probably going to do the same thing for, what was I going to say? Yeah, I'm probably going to do the same thing for this bay and all the rest of the bays. So that's going to be a lot of work. But yeah, if I do manage to find a mod to make this hangar airtight, it'll probably be worth it. So, alright guys, I'll see you in a moment. Alright, cool. And there we go. So I have completed the other dock on the other side. So now we have our two. Thankfully, this reactor was in the perfect spot, so I didn't need to grind it down and move it. So yeah, that worked out quite well. Okay, so now what I want to do is figure out how I'm going to do this whole piston arrangement. So let's move this thing out of the way a bit. Just move it over to the side here, I guess. And we'll just pop it down here, turn this thing off. Alright, let's turn it back on, make sure it completely stops, and then turn it off. Cool, there we go, fantastic. Alright, so how long is a piston actually? We've got our piston here. So it is about, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're about 3 or 2.5 blocks, give or take. So that's, yeah, so it's about 2 blocks, maybe a little bit more. So we want the connector to be at, or the connector to join up to the piston at the bottom of this hole. So we need to go about 2 blocks below that. Alright, so let's drill this out to 2 blocks down. We'll drill this out a little bit more as well, because underneath this we're going to need to put our build and repair system as well. So we'll drill out a little bit of a hole there. That's fine. Okay, so where are we at? That's the side. This is the front here. So I might just start building it from here. So what did I say? I said we need to go 2 blocks down. So if we go down like that, and then we put, let's drill this out a little bit more. So then we're going to have to put another one of these blocks here. So we'll go upside down, put a block there. Let's just weld these up. This is only going to be kind of temporary, I think. Then we'll need a conveyor junction. So we'll make it this color. So is that the center? Yeah, it's more or less the center. So we're going to need to have our conveyor junction there. No, wait, sorry. We're going to have to put in another one of these blocks. Then our conveyor junction, and then on top of that our piston. Let me just go grab some materials for a conveyor and a piston. Okay, so I got my materials for the conveyor and the piston. So let's put down our conveyor, which shall live there. And then on top of that, we're going to have our piston. So let's put down our piston. No, I don't want a piston part, I want the actual piston itself. We'll make it this color, why not? What happened there? Oh, it recolored all that stuff instead of this block down here. Okay, well that sucks, but anyway. And it probably recolored all of these blocks too. Yeah, it did. That doesn't really matter because you're not going to see them. Anyway, let's put it down. Let's put our connector down. Only temporarily though, because I don't really want to put it there permanently. Alright, cool. So that's in the perfect spot. So I know my piston needs to be at least there. So now, at this stage, what I need to do is get this conveyor junction connected up to the rest of the base. So, I'm just going to quickly recolor everything so that I don't, forget about it and not do it later. Okay, everything is recolored. I'm going to cheat a little bit and use... Well, actually, no, I don't really need to. I could probably just go straight back up that wall or to the left there and get straight to where I need to be. So let's kind of line up a little bit here. And then let's use the spectator camera to... Or not the spectator camera, the drill, to go all the way across. Alright, cool. So I've reached our conveyor system here, and conveniently there's a T-junction already here, which is interesting. I didn't realize I had left that behind. But, alright, so if I want this to be airtight, which I kind of do, I'm going to have to do a little bit of work around that. Actually, I say a little bit, but it's going to probably be quite a lot. We're going to have to... What's a way that I can do this more efficiently? Because the only problem is, obviously I'm using these blast door blocks, but if I put something up against them, obviously it is not going to be airtight. So I need to basically, let's run a conveyor all the way across here. So let's make it that color. I'm probably going to delete this conveyor tube in a minute, but that's fine. I just want to kind of lay it out so that I know what I'm doing. Alright, now here we're going to have to go for a right angled conveyor. Every time I take my mouse off to use the insert and delete keys, I move it slightly and then I lose my position. Let's do that and that. Okay, cool. So that grid is now connected. So now when I grind this block away and all of these ones, I should be okay. Alright, so
Energy low.
we're going to have our piston here. So that in fact is going to have to be a conveyor junction, that one there. So let's get rid of this, and then this over here as well. Okay, so we'll put our blocks in like so. Gonna have to have blocks there too, and then we're gonna need to go upwards like so. In fact, I'm gonna have to weld these up on the bottom first, so let's just do that quickly. Okay, now that those are done, let's put in our blocks here. Weld that up. Okay, so that's those blocks done. Now, I'm going to have to grind this out, replace that with I'll replace it with one of these actually, a reinforced conveyor tube. We'll pop it upside down like so, and now that will be airtight. And on top of that, we can put another one of these blocks, and then we can do that and put these blocks here. Now unfortunately, so I'm pretty sure, like if I put a block here, it will be airtight even though the corners of these blocks are touching. But obviously if I go and put them here, you can kind of see that there is a gap there, so air is going to be able to escape into these voxels here. So in order to make that airtight, I'm going to have to run blocks all the way back to here, which really is unfortunate. It's not cool, but you know, it is what it is. So let's just go ahead and do that. We'll run these blocks all the way to the other side. Okay, so the blocks have pretty much met up where I want them to. We've just got to weld up these two, or these three I should say. I'm going to get rid of this block here because I'm going to need to have access to that in a minute, but we'll just leave it there for now. And we're going to need to do the exact same thing over here. So I'm going to drill across the floor here until we get to this point. And then, yeah, we're going to have to put blocks here, the same as what we did on the other side. So, what am I? I'm on voxels here, aren't I? Let's get rid of that. Thank you. Oh, it doesn't really matter though, to be honest with you. Let's weld this up, and this up. And then we'll continue all the blocks all the way across. That looks like it's the wrong color. So we'll just do the exact same thing, I guess. Okay, that's those blocks done. So now we can put a block there, and there, and there, and there. Looks like I don't have enough steel plates for that. Right, there we go. And then finally, we put a block here. And now, that should all be airtight. So if I look all the way around, I can't see any gaps here. So I think we're good. Alright, now I just need to weld up all of these blocks here. So this one, and then all of these tubes. Then that'll be connected to the rest of the grid. And then after that we can put in our piston and start messing around with that. I may or may not mess around with a sensor so that when I move the ship out, the connector kind of lowers down. In fact, I think I am going to do that just for an added little bit of detail. I mean, why not? Might as well while we're here. Alright, so let's get all this stuff welded up, of which I'll do off camera, and we'll get to the piston part. Okay, so I've reached the point where I need to put my piston in, or at least I can put it in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll get that welded up. So, let's chuck in our piston. Where am I going to put the control panel for it though? Doesn't really matter, I suppose. I think so far this is the only piston on the grid. So I'm going to have to get rid of the head though, because otherwise I won't be able to add or weld the body up. Alright, so let's add a piston head using the build planner. Is it build planner? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. Alright, cool. So we've got our piston in, though maybe I should have maybe waited a little bit on that one. Maybe I'll grind this out, actually. I want to get rid of this, and then I want to put a sensor in here. In fact, I'll probably put the sensor there, because technically that is the middle. Or is it? No, that's technically the middle. Wait. So the middle. So we've got 1, 2, 3 blocks after that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4.
Energy low.
It's an even number, so it's never really going to be the middle, is it? Oh, one thing I forgot to do actually is the build and repair. So let's have a look at one of these build and repairs. What do we have? So I think it's on the last menu here. Yep, okay, so we've got a conveyor on the bottom and the side there. So I could essentially replace that. So we'll have it. I reckon we'll probably put it like that. So I could essentially replace that conveyor junction with this. So we'll use the conveyor on the side. We'll move it like that. Oh no, we can't do that. It's got to be placed kind of like that, which really is annoying. Okay, so I might need to put it on the bottom, or what can I do with this thing? I might have to put it on the side of that conveyor junction there. So let me put this block back to save some space, and then we'll get rid of this block here, and then this one.
Inventory full.
Yeah, I know. And then we'll have to put it here, I guess. So it's gonna have to live like that. So that's the front, the left. Okay, so maybe we'll just pop it down there like that. We have a conveyor port on the bottom, so that should be fine where it is. I'll grab more materials to get that done.
Energy critical.
Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to quickly rename this. So, what do I want to call this? Probably go for plunge miner repair bay 1. Yeah, seems like as good a name as any. I'll mess around with it later if I want to change it to something else, but for now that will do. Put this block back. Now we can put our piston back. That's right, I was going to do a sensor, wasn't I? So I'll put the sensor in that location there. So we're going to have to get rid of this block. Our sensor is going to be in there. If I'm not mistaken, they actually made some new types of sensors, didn't they? Like, wasn't there a warfare sensor or something like that? Isn't that... Though I think they're underneath the programmable block. So... yeah, we've got the automation sensor. So were they underneath... Yep, I knew it. They're underneath these blocks.
No energy.
Oh, looks like it's time for some energy. Alright, now the energy crisis has been averted. Let's go ahead and put in some of these sensors. Where did I put them? Here we go. Ooh, these sensors look rather nice. The question is, what's the top? I'm guessing it's where the arrows are pointing upwards. It's hard to know because I can't actually see the top. Alright, so let's go info. Show a sensor's field of range. Let's go into the control panel of this one. We'll go to show on HUD. Turn the proximity alert off. So we only want to detect small ships. Small ships, floating objects. Turn that off. Wait, I went about this the wrong way around. So yeah, I only want it to detect the ship. So oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's mess around with the settings for this. So if I am not mistaken, the front extent will be from that point onwards, which is about, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks, which is, should be 10 meters. So let's go for the front extent, which will be 10.0. Let's see how good my maths is. It's not really that good, so we'll go 12.5. So let's go 12.5. Yeah, back extent, I'm going to increase that to 7.25. No, 7.5. Now it should go all the way back. And then I'm going to narrow the left extent by half a block, by the looks of it. Is that half a block? Yep, it looks like about half a block. So let's do that. So we have our left extent, which will be 2.5, and then our right extent, which will be 2.5. Is that right, or is it 1.25? No, it's 1.25. But of course, so 3.75. Oh, that's right. Yeah, of course. Half a block is 1.25 meters. That's why my maths is not really good in this case. Top extent, probably increase that to 7.25. So I'm pretty sure the ship will interact with that area there. Fantastic. Okay, so let's go back into our menu here, info, turn off the sensor's field of range. Then we can do the same for the sensor. So let's do that. Automaton sensor, show block on HUD, turn that off. And what did I call this? Repair bay. So let's copy that, rename this, and we'll call this repair bay sensor 1. There we go. And we're good to go. Okay, now finally I can put in my piston. Although I would like to maybe configure the build and repair, but I guess we can do that when the ship is actually docked up to this location. Alright, so do I have the material still to put down a piston? That is the question. Probably not. Have I got that? Can I please have that color? Thank you. Okay. No, doesn't look like we do. That's alright. It's because I've been using all the materials to do other things. So let's grab a piston head and pray that I have the components for a connector, although I don't think I'm that lucky, so. Okay, what do I name this one? I'm not going to bother renaming that yet. I'll just leave it for now. Let's put down our top piston part. Oh no, I can't. We'll have to do it through here. Attach piston head. Oh yeah, I'm on it. So I can't attach it, can it? There we go. Alright, cool. So, funnily enough, the piston part defaults to that grey colour, so we're going to change that. Right, now we can put our connector in. Fantastic. Now, do I want it to go sideways like that? Yeah. Seems good enough. Looks like we're short on materials for that. Let's use our conveniently placed connector here. Get that done. Okay, so let's move the ship over and find out what extent we need this piston to be at. So we'll turn this bad boy back on, move this thing across. And I want this thing to be relatively, well, I want it to be level, like totally level. I think that's pretty fair. Is this on... Yeah, it's not exactly 100% straight, so let's get it sorted. Move the front down a bit. I think I'm pretty happy with that level there. I could go a little bit lower, so we could go to about there. And it looks like we are level. Wait, where is the cockpit facing? The cockpit is facing that way. So if I'm standing on the ground here, let's have a look at the indicator just right to the gravity and the P gravity. So it's just underneath those two little lines on the side of the horizon. So if we jump in the ship, we are kind of dead level. Alright, cool. So that's about as low to the ground as I want to get it. Let's just have a look here. Can I zoom out a little bit more, please, game? Yeah, that's literally touching the ground, so maybe we'll go up a little bit more. Oh, we're magnetized down to the sensor here. Or to the connector, even though it's like... Okay, so... Let's go into the menu here. So the connector was so close to the other connector. So let's... the strength of the magnetism. I'm going to put that to disabled. So that so it doesn't try and magnetize to that sensor, and we can just kind of get it level. Alright, so and then it looks like the horizon is level. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so now I'm going to have to move the piston up in very small increments to find out exactly where it needs to be. I might do this off camera though. I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm going to do. So I don't think it's necessary to do that, and it's probably going to take me a while. Okay, so I think I've got my piston set correctly. So at the moment it's set to 0.9 meters. If we crouch down, you can kind of notice that we are quite far from the ground. We're at a decent distance from the wall here, so I think that's a perfect location. So I imagine once I turn back on the magnetism for the connector on the ship itself, it will suck it back down just a tiny bit, and then we'll kind of be perfect. Alright, so at this point I'm going to set up this sensor. So let's find our sensor here. Now what we want is we want setup actions. Want to find our piston. So our plunge miner repair bay piston 1. So we want to... So if it can detect something, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. We want to extend it, the piston. If we cannot detect something, we want to retract the piston, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. So let's just test that functionality. I did set the speed of it quite low. So, alright, let's move this out of the way. And now it should reverse that piston. Okay, we might have to set that differently. So let's have a look at the sensor again. Set up actions. So when it detects something, we'll want to reverse the piston. I didn't really want to do it this way, just in case like you kind of move out of the way and you could kind of break it. Reverse. And then reverse. What? How did I do this last time? That's interesting. Pretty sure that's how it works though. So we want to retract and then maybe extend when it does detect something. Is that the way it works? Maybe that's how it works. So let's just do that. Okay. This is proving to be very difficult. Why is this so difficult? Let's just make sure that it is actually detecting my ship. So we'll show this on HUD. Okay, so it detects nothing right now. Even though my ship is actually there. Okay, so it says red as if it can't detect anything. So that's what the issue is. So why can it not detect my small grid ship when I told it to detect small grids? Detect small ships. Is it on? Yeah. Well, why can't it detect my small ship? Is it because it needs to be able to detect the cockpit, maybe? See, I've never used it to detect a ship. So, alright, let's increase the top extent here to like 12.5. And so we definitely know the ship can be detected in that field. But yet it doesn't detect the ship. Alright, well I might mess around with this off camera and try and figure out what is going on here, but I'm not going to waste any more time on camera trying to figure out this little issue. Alright, well I finally got it working. So as I was, because I often edit and then record certain portions of the video at the same time, so as I was editing the last portion of the video, I noticed that perhaps the problem was that I am not doing the following. So let's have a look at our sensor. So I had all of these turned off. So I've got detect owner, detect friendly on now, but I had all of these turned off apart from friendly, and I think this right here is the setting that I needed to enable. So let's just have a look at this. So obviously the connector is fully extended, and then if we grab this ship and then we move it into the area, then it does detect the ship, but it's moving the opposite direction to what I want. So I think there's two ways I can fix this. The first one is perhaps what we can do is we can go into the piston itself and we can reverse it. Hopefully that'll fix my problem. So let's reverse that. There we go, fantastic. Alright. So once I reverse that, now when I jump into my ship and then I put it into the sensor's field of range, it does nothing. Okay. Alright, so what am I doing wrong here? Okay. Alright, so let's just see. Let's go into the sensor again. Doesn't really seem to matter what the so setup actions. So we've got extend and retract. So let's remove this, and then we will go Wait, I can't remember which... I can't remember which way they were. Alright, let's go extend and then retract. And then let's see what that does. Well, it doesn't seem to be doing what I want. So maybe it's the other way. Alright, let's try it the other way. So sensor... Let's go into here, set up actions. So this is retract. No, I think that is the correct way to go. So let's go back into the sensors field of range. There we go, and then let's move out. Yeah, there we go. Now it's working. Fantastic. Alright, so let's dock this thing up. Actually, what I'm gonna do is... Let's just see what is the default magnetism for one of these connectors. Let's just have a look. 0.015. So I'm going to copy this value, cancel that, and I'm going to jump into the cockpit of this. Let's find our connector, minor connector. Let's set this to the same, and now it should magnetize to the connector. Oh, okay, that's not cool. That's not what I want. Alright, let's move it back into range. Let's try and straighten it up a bit. It doesn't really matter because that's the beauty of the magnetism, is it's going to straighten out the ship. Or maybe not as much as what I had hoped. I thought it would like straighten it out in terms of its roll, but it doesn't seem to do that as much as what I hoped. And it's kind of... Wait, maybe I didn't hit enter on that. Let's just have a look at this. Okay, so the connector, the strength when aligning ship, smallest strength of 2 connectors is used. Okay, so is there perhaps a different strength on small grid connectors maybe? Let's just check this thing. Minor rear, 0.015. The strength on the minor bottom has been disabled. Yeah, that's pretty normal for my ships. What has the strength of this connector been set to? 0.015. So that's interesting. Why is the ship not getting magnetized to that connector? It is, but it seems to not be magnetized that much. So maybe I need to increase this, because I want it to be quite magnetized. Okay then. Lord Reaver's making their racket. Let's try this again. Oh, it did say to me though that the strength of the lowest connector, or the lowest strength of the 2 connectors, would be used. So perhaps we need to change this one as well to 0.0250. Alright, so let's move across. Okay. That's something I think I'll deal with in the next episode. Okay. Seems like we have another issue. So it looks like I might have to detect subgrids. Let's turn that on. There we go. Okay. So I think what happened there is once I connected it to the base, then it essentially became a subgrid. And because the sensor cannot detect a subgrid, or at least I had not told it to detect a subgrid, then that's when it basically said, no, I'm not going to work. So yeah, by turning on the subgrids on that sensor, then now it actually works as expected. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn off this stuff on the HUD. Alright, cool. So I have disabled the show on HUD option. I have turned off audible proximity alert. And I have also disabled the show sensors field of range in the options. So, alright, next what we need to do is do the same for all of these other things. Although these ones here, where the ships are going to end up, so I believe this is the bay for the mining ship, so if we jump into this one, then I'm not even going to do it, but that sits flat on the ground, so does the fighter, and I'm going to build another 3 of them. So one of them, or 2 of them, are going to have the Gatling turrets, and then the other 2 are going to have those autocannon turrets, and we're going to see which one actually works better. I'm going to build another mining ship, so we have one on either side, and I may build another one of these so that we can put one of these on the other side, or what we can do is use the atmospheric version and park that there, because it is of a very similar configuration to that ship. But the only problem with that ship is that it only has atmospheric thrusters, obviously because it's an atmospheric ship, but that means I won't actually be able to park it over into this parking spot here, because atmospheric thrusters don't work in space because it's not an atmosphere. So I'm going to have to either put temporary ion thrusters onto it, or find a way where I can implement them into that design so that we can actually get that working. And then the other thing is that once I get all of these ships built, I need to put a projector into all of these ships, set up the build and repair system so that it encompasses this bay. Although I am having thoughts about just placing one in the center here, and one build and repair system basically repairs all of the ships. But nevertheless, they need a blueprint to go from. So I'm going to need to put a projector on every one of my ships and turn that on in order for the build and repair system to actually function properly. So yeah, there is a lot of work yet to do. I was planning on doing the roof, but turns out all of this stuff took me a little bit longer than I had expected. So anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Now, I am going to try my very best to get back to a weekly schedule, because honestly, I have been a little bit lazy, also very busy, but a little bit lazy in getting these episodes out. So I really want to stick to a weekly schedule once again, like I've done for so many years. But yeah, anyway guys, hopefully I will see you next week.